Awesome. Thank you, Soren. Hey, everybody. I'm going to show you today some slides about Kata for continuous improvement. I'll try not to make it too salesy about Praxi. We'll give you some information about Praxi, but basically really try to cover the subject and how you can use AI to improve not only Kata, but all kinds of lean processes. What I'm going to do is jump, Soren talked about my background in Internet of Things at SAP. Uh, what I found, which was really interesting, is that as teams try to go through digital transformation, regardless of which software they tended to have for their ERP or MES systems or whatever, I kept seeing this picture where you'd have Excel sheets and whiteboards and all the lean processes were basically managed in paper. For those of you who are manufacturers, this is probably a familiar picture. We basically have a digital transformation platform that takes all of this stuff and turns it into beautiful software that's completely tailored to your needs. I asked the customers why they were doing it this way, and they basically said, well, they're basically we do these processes in a unique way, and we can't find a software that really manages them the way we want to manage them. Or if we want to build them in a custom way, we'd have to have our IT teams, and they're busy, or pay an arm and a leg to get a custom development system. So what we did is we built this platform over here that allows us to very rapidly build tenth the time, a tenth the cost applications to digitize all of the types of things that you'll run in your lean best practices. Now, those lean processes should drive lots of improvements. These are sort of standard-based improvements that we see, and you'll probably get an extra 5 to 10% improvement using AI on top of this. And I'll show you some of the ways that that can be done. Let's talk about kata for a second. I mean, when we were going to talk about this subject, I remember I took Taekwondo back when martial arts were just Taekwondo before they had mixed martial arts and all the stuff they have today. But basically, when you do your martial arts, if you've taken your kid or you did this stuff, they do these katas, which are basically practice dances that they learn over and over. That you do all the standard moves, and it's part of getting your belts as you move forward. Well, taking that choreographed series of movements that was the traditional karate or martial arts view, it's a choreographed series of processes that you use to improve a particular metric or process you're trying to improve in manufacturing. So the kata best practices are structured approaches for continuous improvement. As I said, it's inspired by martial arts, and it was part of the Toyota production system and got into the GM production system through the NUMMI plants that were in Fremont, California, actually not far from here. The main two components are the improvement kata, where you design and really work on the process change you're trying to work on, and the coaching kata, where a mentor in your organization provides feedback. You work together to try to improve the process. So that, remember, that's the improvement kata. What am I trying to improve? How am I going to do it? And the coaching kata, how's that going, and the coaching that can be used to help you. The next thing is what those key best practices in identifying and creating a kata. So you identify the target condition. You're trying to improve OEE. You're trying to reduce scrap. What is the condition you're trying to do? You experiment with plan, do, check, act processes. That's a standard lean process of process improvement. Then you implement the coaching. Review it with your coach, your supporters, your team. Like, what are we learning? How's that going? And then start the process again. So it's a cyclical process until you retire that kata and decide that you've reached where you want to go in that particular metric. And you can be running a number of these katas at the same time. So the benefits, general benefits, in the plant: efficiency gains, quality improvement, cost reduction, safety enhancement. And the last one I think is really important is the moral and productivity, and really the team building. Because as a lot of people on manufacturing lines, I remember hearing this quote when they were talking about, this is years and years ago at Chrysler, and they started asking line people to help them improve the process. And obviously that's not revolutionary today, but it was at the time. And it's, you're paying for the manufacturing, the hands part, but you get the brains for free, meaning people really do like to help, and building a process where you work together to improve process is critical to the morale and actually to the actual execution of these processes. So the last part is about AI. AI may be the largest transformation in our lifetime. I mean, the stuff you're saying, I don't know if you guys have seen Sora, this thing where if you haven't seen it, SORA, it's generating beautiful videos and things like that just with a few sentences. The amount of intelligence that's coming into the compute environment is extraordinary. And one thing to realize is it's probably going to completely change the competition landscape that we're all on. And you can't really be part of it unless you digitize. You can't run processes, on Excel or documents or paper that are really going to take advantage of AI in any meaningful way. So I'll talk about that and how we provide and how you should, our view is how you can look at supporting processes at the point of work. So I'm going to take a few minutes here and walk you through a demonstration of our Kata AI-powered Kata application, and then we'll summarize it and take some questions. So I jump into the actual application here. So this Kata application has a number of pieces here. You can add and edit different katas. You can view your dashboard, and you can use AI to generate different aspects of the kata. In this little application, you'll see these applications that Praxi provides are very simplistic looking. It's by design. It's to try to make this process be accessible to people in a way that's familiar and not overwhelming. So we have a list view. There's 3 demonstration katas in here. You also can have a Kanban view, which you can assign. You can see which katas are in progress and which are completed. I'll pause before I show you the dashboard and the executive summary. But if I click here, you basically generate a new kata. Now that kata has, in this design, a few sections, kind of an overview section where who are you assigning to? It's to me. What's the area you're going to try to work on? This is just editable. What's the date of the kata? What's the priority you're placing on this one? And, is it on track or off track overall to improve the kata? Then we put a charting mechanism in here where you can track the actual improvement percent you're trying to get against whatever metric you're trying to create. Now, if we work with you on a client basis, we can design these with different metrics and different tracking and really whatever you want to do. This is just an example that shows the percentage gain in a chart. Now, to begin the process, we talked about defining the kata itself, and there's these links here that you can jump to the different sections. So in defining the kata, here, I'll go full screen on this. You basically, what is your current challenge? And you can come in here and you can enter your challenge. In this case, current challenge is lead generation process, not working as expected. Every company has that problem. More leads is always better. That's the challenge. The current condition is they're generating about 10 leads a week through partnership recognitions. Need a way to track and organize leads better. So that's the current condition, the challenge. What's the target? Simple. Want to 5x that. We want to get to 50 leads a week. Okay, so how are you going to do that? What's the experiment? Well, we're going to set up MailChimp and we're going to begin cold calling. And you set up a few ideas of what you're going to do to try to make a change. Now, this could be applied to scrap. It could be applied. This is a very sort of sales-based or marketing-based challenge, but it could be applied to anything. So then, as part of that process you laid out here, what's the experiment? You can define the key actions. Now, AI can also create key actions for you to do based on this. So instead of you taking the time, if I click this, it'll automatically generate all of your actions, and then you can start assigning them to users or set dates on them. So it again accelerates the work at the point of work for the work you're trying to do. So you go and you begin that process and you begin working. Then if I jump down here to the coaching section, so now working with your mentor, your coach, you say, okay, the target condition that we're trying to achieve is 50 leads a week. The updated condition is we're at 20 MailChimp and cold calls. What are the challenges that are coming in, in your plan, do, check, act kind of thinking? What are the challenges that you're having in executing against your target condition? Well, the experiment with, started with potentials, we're having particular issues, et cetera. And so then you come up with a new or modified experiment to improve the process. So that's effectively the overall process. And then what happens here is you can come down and generate a summary. So if I click this, I won't do it because it takes about 25 seconds currently. These models are getting faster and faster, but basically it then generated this a summary of the current status of the condition. And in our workflow system, we can automatically email that out to any of our constituents or any of our users. So you can send it out to management or to the plant stakeholders and say, hey, here's where we are in our current kata, et cetera. So again, the process is you start with the improvement that you're trying to achieve. You lay out your challenge, your current condition, your target condition, and the experiments you're going to run. You then use AI to generate your tasks, edit those tasks, and assign them to people. You then go through the coaching process, and you can work this out with your mentor how often you want to do it, but you go through your coaching process with your mentors and come up with new experiments you can do, and then you can generate summaries. Now, at a certain point, you'll have all these katas and it'll move to completed. You've reached your goal and you can start new ones. Now, you can use this application, you can view it, as I said, in Kanban view or list view to manage and generate and work with as many of these as you want to at any one time with your mentor and team. And then you can get a full dashboard that shows you how each of them are doing against your target percentage completions. One of the nice things about using a consistent metric like percentage of completion, and you can apply that to, my goal is this and my current status is this, and you can set any sort of, you can use that with any type of metrics to get a percentage achievement, is that you can create a consistent view of all of your different goals in one place. You can also look at all of your katas and where they are by status. You can attach files. Those files can link to OneDrive or Google or uploaded directly in here, et cetera. And then you can also see this is an executive summary of all of the katas, where they are. And again, that can be emailed out to your team automatically. So again, this is one application. Praxi has dozens and dozens of applications that we have AI embedded processes in. The word Praxi means the practical application of knowledge. So we try to use AI in that exact vein to do that kind of work. So that's a quick overview of the kata process within Praxi and how you can use AI to accelerate. I'll just go through a few more slides that kind of highlight the differences of going digital versus not. So you have your standard kata, which is great because the team can see it. It provides fill in the blanks. It's it's paper-based, but the team can see it on a big board. The nice thing about current technologies is you can get a 75-inch television for $500 these days. So you can create amazing interactive displays on your shop floor to do this kind of work, where anybody stopping by can not only see a paper version, but they can see a digital version. The other issue is that AI, and this is the big one, AI can be embedded in everything here. So get digital and get to AI as quickly as possible. Talking about the AI generation, you have the ability to go through the process of defining them and using AI to deal with each of the steps and generate summaries, actions, or recommendations about what you can do based on the processes you're trying to run, including what metrics should you try to track. We have solutions for all those kinds of things in our AI package. And then ultimately, you can generate summaries of all the work going on and get those out to folks so that you're not spending human time writing summaries and organizing that you click one button and it goes out to all the people that need to know where you are on all these processes. You also have the task generation. So within our system, you have the ability to generate and manage all your tasks that are related to all your lean processes, and you can generate these tasks based on best practices from AI. Lastly here is, Praxi has a broad suite. I try to make this not too salesy. We have a broad suite of this kind of stuff. If you're running lots of your processes in Excel sheets and want to get digital on a platform you can take from any one of dozens of lean processes. We're covering most of the lean workflows. We also do lots of different work order type processes. Reach out to us. We have our meeting information on our website, and we'll help you build a command center to get you all of this information at your fingertips. So I'll pause there. We can answer any questions you guys might have. That was about a 17-minute demo of the entire process, and we try to keep these down to about 20-25 minutes. So I'm happy to take or answer any questions you guys might have.
Great. Thank you, Michael. I did post, there was a couple of questions that were coming privately to me, and I did post a link to how to set up a demo, personal demo, so somebody could understand a little bit more for their own organization how this would work. So that link is there. If anybody has any questions, feel free to type it into the chat and I'll pose them to Michael. There were a couple questions. How do you, if you're in a manufacturing organization and you really don't have a technical, infrastructure to do process improvement, you might have an MES, you might be tracking some data, you might have Power BI and some dashboards. What's the best way to get started with something like this? It's new technology, but that can feel overwhelming to certain organizations or people. What's the best way to go about that?
Yeah, we generally start with some core metrics just show you an example. So we generally start with a very simplistic sort of SPQRCE methodology and, safety, people, quality, responsiveness, cost, environment. Now, you don't have to do all of these. You could just start with a few of them. These track core metrics, and those metrics can be rolled up using end of shift forms and reports. So you don't need to connect to any system to do it. We do that work. If you want to connect to your databases or to your machines or other things, we do that. But my point being is you can start very simply by just digitizing the work that you're already doing, setting up a simple kata. In this case, you can see here what's the lean principle method, et cetera, and what your status is. And what are your countermeasures that you're going on each one of these. So we can start very simply there. We can go to production monitoring and get your production monitoring work going. So what I would suggest is don't try to boil the ocean. Think of this as a digital transformation process that, is going to take a year or two to get you where you want to go. And we start very simply, start inexpensively, and take on a few of these. You start doing your 5S audits, your Gemba walks, and pretty soon you're changing the culture as well as creating a platform that integrates with all your best practice processes. We can digitize the stuff that your team's already using. So if you're using particular spreadsheets, we can embed those. If you're using particular forms, we can digitize those. And we try to make the transition very easy. We cover all of the items from the IT standpoint. So we try not to impact your IT staff. We'll do the work. We'll coordinate with the business people and IT. And we try to make the process very easy to implement.
One other question is, you just shared Kata, which is, a comprehensive process in and of itself, but how does that connect to other Six Sigma lean tools and processes? I mean, you've got you might have a project, which could be in an A3 project. Could you just describe those linkages so that you kind of put this in the perspective of kind of lean process improvement in Six Sigma?
Yeah, we generally start with something that might be your core KPIs for the organization, and think of these the L1 down to L5 boards, and think of this as a command center. So your huddle boards might be at your L2 or L3, depends on how you want to organize it. Then you have your production monitoring, your end of shift reporting. So we can design this to your specification as well. What you're seeing is completely designable to how you want to work. So you might have your end of shift reporting where you're entering that data via spreadsheets, or we're bringing that data in from databases in your production monitoring. Then you might have your different, lean processes that you want to run, like A3s. So in this case, here's a list of all the A3s that we're running and what the status is on each of those and what the control plan is and where the action items they are to address all of those. So you design this, and we start, as I said, small. You might just start with a KPI, a huddle board, and some production monitoring. Then you start adding your 5S and your Kaizen and your 5Ys or whatever processes you want as you transition the culture. And our platform has, literally dozens and dozens of these processes, including work orders and training matrices, production trial, work order systems, really anything you want. We design to your specifications, and it usually takes us, 3 to 5 weeks to have complete application systems running at a plant. We do it very rapidly.
Well, great. That looks like it has addressed all the questions we have, Michael. So thank you very much for joining us today. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. I did post a link into the chat. If you'd like more information, just click that link and fill out that form, and we'll get back to you. Otherwise, we will send you another invitation for our next webinar. And it'll always be on a new topic within Lean Six Sigma and manufacturing, quality, as well as the connection point to artificial intelligence, as that is definitely changing the world. So with that, thanks everybody, and thank you, Michael.
Thanks, Warren.